Communicative approach provides a theory how languages are best learned and how they should be taught. It is an approach that says students need to be learning the language and learning how to use the language for achieving communicative competence. Communicative method is not a method per se. It is not a method in the sense by which content, syllabus, and teaching routine are clearly identified. It allows a variety of methods and techniques. In communicative approach and method, it is common to use activities that require frequent interaction so that learners are able to exchange information and solve problems. Use of authentic text and communication activities linked to real-world context, often emphasizing links across written and spoken models and channels. Method is learner-centered, which means it takes into account learners' backgrounds, language needs and goals, and generally allows learners some creativity and role in instructional decisions. Methodological principles of communicative language teaching are essential features that have been designed to ease the second language acquisition. Use tasks as an organizational principle. Promote learning by doing. Input needs to be rich, meaningful, comprehensible, and elaborated. Cooperative and collaborative learning. Focus on form and provide error-corrective feedback. Recognize and respect effective factors of learning. These principles are applied in different ways depending on the teaching context, the age of learners, their level, their learning goals, and so on.
Okay, thank you, Anna. I have been listening to you, but I have some questions. Alex, can I ask you the questions?
Of course, Umberto, what question do you have?
So, how do learners acquire a second language according to the communicative approach?
Well, Umberto, according to the communicative approach, a second language requires learning by doing. That means that the student must be active in the learning process.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Another question. Why is using the language as important as learning the language?
As I said before, learning by doing is a really important principle because when you are a kid, you acquire the language in a natural environment where the language is spoken.
I agree with that, thanks. And the last question, Alex. What does a language learning situation need in order to be considered within the communicative approach?
So, to be considered a communicative approach, the student needs to understand what the other is saying to provide an adequate input. Do you have any question about it or it is clear?
Thank you very much, Alex. Crystal clear.
Oh, nice question, Umberto. But now I have another question. Chiara, can you answer me? Should classes be focused on grammar teaching?
Grammar should be introduced through meaningful communication in order to support the development of communicative skills.
Oh, okay, Chiara, thank you. I have the last question for you. What kind of input should learners be provided with?
Well, the principal characteristic of how input should be for learners are rich, meaningful, comprehensible, and elaborated. Rich input means that students needs to hear the second language as they use to their native, from multimedia resources, from the teacher, or even from other students. According to the meaningful input, students should have the opportunity to receive a clear information which presents any relationship to previous knowledge of the learner. Obviously, before being meaningful, this information must be understood by the student. Thank you for this interesting question, Marina, but I have one for you. What feedback are necessary in a language class?
In a language class, there are two kinds of necessary feedback. Positive feedback, which confirms the correctness of a student's response, and negative feedback, usually known as error correction, which has a corrective function on a student's speech. Both of them are vital during a learner's language development, since they allow the learner to either accept, reject, or modify a hypothesis about correct language use.